Winter is coming, and it's a time of year where sunlight deprivation is at its highest, and so is seasonal affective disorders. So joining our conversation this morning, we have our 9 News wellness expert and psychotherapist, Heather Hans. Heather, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Great to see you.
I appreciate you being here to talk about this because this is certainly something that a lot of people are going to be impacted by. Actually, 6% of adults we know suffer from seasonal affective disorders. So what are the symptoms that people can be looking out for?
Sure. And people can also have winter blues. That's not quite as severe, but it's classified as major depressive disorder with seasonal pattern. It can actually happen in the summer too for different reasons, but mostly it happens in the winter. People who have a history of it, a family history of SAD or depression, or if you're female, you're more likely to get it. And the symptoms are due to the brain associating the less sunlight with needing more sleep, so it increases melatonin, and that creates these depressive symptoms like overeating, oversleeping, irritability, losing energy, losing interest in things that you enjoy. And you also have serotonin, which normally makes us feel awake, that drops, and so that increases those depressive symptoms as well.
Yeah, I definitely have been affected by this. You know, sometimes I'll walk into my home and I'm like, who left this mess here? Oh, it's me. I haven't been cleaning the way I typically like to do. How do you know the difference between what you call it, holiday blues, or?
Yes, winter blues.
Winter blues versus seasonal affective disorder.
A good question. Winter blues doesn't affect your daily life so severely. You can still function, whereas seasonal affective disorder really is interfering with your daily life, and it can also happen in the summer. Okay,
perfect. So what are some ways that some people who are affected can actually help themselves if they maybe find themselves in the situation?
Sure. So the main treatment is light therapy, and you can do that artificially or with natural sunlight. Amazon sells what are called light boxes that mimic natural sunlight. I keep one on my desk. You could keep it there for 30 to 60 minutes a day, and you can also sit by a window, schedule time to get outside because no one wants to do it when it's cold. And then some people schedule a tropical vacation every winter. That helps. And then another thing to do is to really increase your stress management skills in the winter, because the lower vitamin D from the sunlight can cause stress and damage in the brain. And so a couple quick ways to diffuse stress easily is to engage your physical senses, so eating something spicy, taking a whiff of perfume, listening to loud music.
Really?
Yeah. Another way you could do that is by talking to yourself in third person, like you're your own coach. You know, we're going to do this now, or just kind of giving yourself pep talks. That does it quickly.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I also like the spicy food things.
Right? Because it brings your attention out of your mind into the physical. And one last tip is to try and find ways to exercise every day and reduce sugar, because exercise is the best way to boost mood, even if it's just a walk or playing a game outside, taking a trip to the rec center. And people tend to get overweight in the winter because of that drop in serotonin, so then they crave sugar, and you don't make the best choices for your nutrition when you're stressed anyway, so increasing protein can help with that.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, you just kind of get stuck in this like terrible cycle. Okay, so let's say you've tried all of these things, right, and you're still kind of impacted by this. At what point do you know it's okay to maybe get help with medicine? Yeah,
that's a great question for people to talk with their doctors about, because it really depends on the individual and their history, their family history, their symptoms. But we do know that people with SAD have a higher instance of addiction because they tend to self-medicate with alcohol or drugs, and medication can cause dependence. So if it's used, it should be used seasonally and in addition to those other health habits.
All right, good to know. Heather, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm learning a lot from you every time we do this.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you so much, Jordan.
All right.